Hi, this is Mark from SMPostcards again with another video about postcard reselling. So today we got a bunch of stuff to go through. Shouldn't take too long, but I got the what solds on eBay and Etsy, 0 on HIP, news and current events, got a few things to go over, and I have a special topic today, comic or humor postcards. A little history about those and some examples and what I think of them as something that sells. And then I have a postcard definition, publisher. Tells a little bit about publisher and where it's at on the card. And I got about 4 viewer comments later on in the video, which gives a little insight on what I do and how I answer those. Now, we made it easy for you when you come into these videos, and if they're a little longer than you want to watch, down in the bottom, you'll see chapters along the bottom of your screen or your phone, and you'll be able to click on the portion of the video you want. I try to label them to make it easy. What sold, special topic, what sold, definition. So you can watch them as your pleasure. You can pick the part you want and come back later and watch the rest. So let's go ahead and get into the news and the current events that are going on. I don't have a lot, and remember, these are recorded about a week in advance, so it might be a little dated, or if you're watching it later on in the playback, it might not be relevant. But as of today, we still have issues with the postcard supplies and the shortages and the vendors getting them to us, especially with the envelopes. The 6.5 by 4.5 envelopes from EchoSwift are double in price, but when you order them, you end up getting an email that it's going to take a while to get them. That happened to me once. So what I did, and others have done, some other things I'll talk about, is I didn't order from EchoSwift this time. I went and I found a supplier for some heavier envelopes as a backup. I do have a lot of the 6.5 by 4.5, but I'm not for sure if I can, for as many cards as I sell, I should get through the rest of the year, maybe in the first quarter, but I just don't trust what's going to go on with the post office this year, the envelope, and the way everything's going. I just want to have some backup. So I looked at these envelopes. These are like 250 GSM 8 by 6, but they're a little more flimsy. So if I put a postcard in there, there's a bigger chance that it could bend a little bit more than what it could do. It can bend in here, but it's kind of like the same size. It won't roll around inside. So I just went ahead and purchased some of the stiffer ones. These are like 550 GSM. They're a little stiffer. Plus, with those prints and those larger boat cards I got, I'm going to use them anyway. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go out there and buy a couple cases of these just as a backup. And also with my store, I get free supplies, so I bought some of these. Now, there will be an upcharge on the shipping because these are like 2 ounces by themselves, these higher GSM thickness envelopes. But I'm not really that worried about it because I'm only going to pay that when it sells instead of having $300 sitting out there and no envelopes. But I will use these later on for when I get into those larger prints and stuff. So it's not really throwaway money. Now, what others have done is they found envelopes that are just a little bit bigger than these. They're a little thinner than they wanted, but what they're doing is they're going out against some cardboard, heavier cardstock, and they're kind of making a taco and putting that inside. Well, I sell so many cards that I would be cutting cardboard up all the time. So I decided to make it easy and just get the thicker ones. That's how I'm going to use them. But that's another way, is to get the, I think they're like maybe a paper type for invitations, and then just get some cheap cardboard at the dollar store or whatever, and just cut them to size and make a taco out of it to make them a little stiffer yourself. So those are the ways you can get around it as we get through the rest of this year in the first quarter. Postcard sleeves are still out of stock until July of 2022 from my wholesaler. So if you haven't got those yet, there is some out there, but I've seen some prices starting to creep up on them. Also, remember the eBay fall update. The changes to the postcard categories are going to start happening like the second week of October. They stated around October 14th. So if you see changes in your categories and a lot of item specifics, that's what's happening on there. In my last video, I talked a little bit about them getting rid of all the categories and only having like 3 or 4 for postcards. But I heard you need to put all the states and stuff into your item specifics. So let's go ahead and get into some of the what's sold. Now I sold 19 cards on eBay, 2 cards on Etsy, and 0 on HIP. So it's a total of 21 cards. But that's usually how it goes. But that was in a 24-hour period. Like I said, tomorrow I might not sell any, or 1, or I might sell 30. You never know. So I work on a monthly basis on the cards. But the first card I sold is another Main Street view. This is Main Street, Endicott, New York. So it's just basically an older cars, older street. Nice looking shot on there. Not a bad card. A little lighter stock card. But it's a chrome card of a street. Sold between $4 and $5. Next card I sold on eBay is a banner card. There's your banner. It's a little thinner banner than normal. And this is of Glen Falls, New York. It says greetings from Glen Falls, New York. And it has a picture there and a picture there. Chrome card. It does have some older cars in there. So it's probably what sold it, 60s or whatever. But unposted chrome card, $4 to $5. Now this next card actually falls into the special topic day of comic cards or humor cards. This is a Backseat driver's license postcard. So it says right up here, Backseat driver's license. It gives a little bit of details. Date issued 1961 and 1999. License number, certified that the person passed all the tests for nervousness and been licensed to irritate and annoy, criticize, and otherwise disturb the operator of the car. So you got a license to do that. It's a postcard. Humor, $4 to $5. Next card is not for sure where it is. Veracruz, Mexico, I think. It's a Mexican, I can't read, some kind of temple or something like that. It's an international card, Mexico, on there. It's got a weird stamp on there. But that's sold between $4 and $5. Now the next one is a naval ship. It's the USS Hollister, DDD 788. It's a destroyer right there. But this isn't from all those naval ship cards that I bought. This is one from I had before from another lot or what I picked it up. So I always picked up Navy ships, but this is from there. Unposted chrome card. Nice looking card. Navy photo. Postcard, $4 to $5. Let me do a couple more here, and we'll get into the special topic. And remember, like I said, down in the bottom, along the bottom of your screen and on your phone, you should see little categories of parts of the video. So if you want to skip around, you can do that. And they're called timestamps, categories, chapters, different things. You'll see the names down there. Next one is just mountains. Artist Drive and Death Valley. I don't know. Just a bunch of mountains. So it looks like Artist Drive. There's a drive. A lot of people would probably not list this card. I did. $4 to $5. I do that 100 times. That's $500. Next one is a stadium. Stadiums always do well. Memorial Stadium, Bucknell University, Lewisburg, Pennsylvania. Now, if you notice, this has some tape up there, but that was in the pictures. Nice view of a stadium. And this was 1936 is when this was posted. It's a white border card. Right in the era. But you can see that tape up there. But that universities sell. You know, stadiums sell. Sometimes you can get a little bit more money for the stadiums. So let me do one more card here, and I'll get into the special topic of comic postcards and what I think of them. Billings, Montana. These aerial view shots of towns like that, especially out west in these smaller towns, really do well. And sometimes you want to look those up because if it's a certain town, they're worth a lot of money. A lot more than what I'm probably selling them for. But if you want to do the research on them, I know there's some place in West Virginia or something that's just horrendous for ridiculous for the amount of money to get for those. Chrome card, $4 to $5. Okay, so comic cards. I've talked about them before in videos and stuff like that. I get them in lots. I don't actively search for them, but they're fun to read. So what is a comic postcard? There wasn't really a good definition that I could find that I could copy and modify a little bit. So I kind of came up with my own to a point. I kind of got it from a article and said, yeah, that looks pretty good. This will do. So let me put it right down here for you. Comic postcards. They offer a glimpse into the taste, the lifestyles, and the issues of the past. And I'll let you know what I mean by issues. Early comic postcards varied from sweet to risque. Some of the comic postcards I've had, some of them I didn't post. They were just not, what do you want to call it for today, politically correct, PC. They were just, yeah, I didn't want the conversation. So they go in the flea market box and someone else can do whatever they want with them. Not too often, but some of them were pretty well like on the edge. Just be careful when you list on there. If you want to have that conversation and debate, more power to you. I just don't want to have the noise or the drama. I will ride the edge a little bit, but not that far. So these postcards, back in the 1880s when postcards came out, they were perfect for vehicle for a joke. Just like right now with text, you get the memes and stuff like that. So postcards back in the day were perfect vehicle for a joke. You can put them on there, send it to someone, they get a laugh, you got a friend. Some of the postcards, comic postcards, they mock the enemy during wartime. You'll see a lot of those cards out there, and you want to be careful. Make sure they don't have the German stuff on there. You don't want to put that out there. There's a ban on that they're not allowed on eBay on some of those insignias and stuff. So you want to be careful even on the comic cards what you're posting. And I have a video about the 5 banned postcards that I was not allowed to list. And I got a few other ones in, but they kind of fall in that category. But there's a short video out there talking about those 5 types of postcards. I already did the work. Don't do it. If you want to ride the edge, do it, but you can jeopardize your account. So they mocked enemies during wartime, and some of them even had their favorite comic characters on them. You know, Bugs Bunny and all these other ones on there. Back in the day, the comic strips were big time in the newspaper, and they would put them on postcards. Now, they probably had to license them, and it cost them, but that's what some of the cards did. Also, comic cards can be political, and during elections, they can be used to poke fun at candidates. Look during the Theodore Roosevelt, the Whigs, and all this other stuff. They had big heads, and so they were used back then as the social media of the day to poke fun, the comic cards. Those political cards can be pretty pricey, so you want to do some research on some of those older vintage humor cards, comic cards, and see if you can get an extra few dollars on them. What I find, comic cards, people go in, they look at them, they get a laugh, and they move on. I don't sell that many of them compared to other cards. And that's just I have a lot of the comic cards in there, but I don't actively search for them. Unless they're bright red ones or something like that that will stick out. But I just can't seem to move those. Kind of like Continentals, I just can't move them. But people on Pinterest, I have, over 10,000 pins on Pinterest of postcards. And the clicks for comic cards is more, but they don't drive all the way through. So they just move on after reading them. The prices for these cards, I've seen them for a couple dollars and up. It just depends on the subject, the condition, and the novelty. So in the age, people have listed them $20, $30 and dollar shipping. So the prices vary all over. Just like the patriotic cards, they're just all over the place. So it depends what people's interests are and if they want it, spur of the moment, impulse buy. You can get the higher dollar for it, but most of them are pretty at the bottom portion of the price range. Now I do have four examples here that we have. So most of the comic cards I got some chromes, some thicker stock ones, but most of them are linen that I have. And this one is of a golfer. It says, "Oh boy, a hole-in-one, everything's clicking fine." He's putting it into the outhouse. So that would go to a golfer as a joke. Nice, colorful for the linen, airbrushed. So that's one comic humor card, like for a golfer. The next one is animals are used in comic cards a lot. And this one is, "After you, my dear Alphonse." So there's 2 dogs sniffing a pole, and he's being polite. and saying, Alfonsi, whatever, you go first. So they're, go to the bathroom on the pole, but they got to sniff it first. And that's a linen card, and this is from 1948 card, but 2 dogs. You'll see a lot of animals like that in the cards. This is one of those, before you ask, the answer is no. This would be one you'd put up in your cube at work or whatever. It's one of those saying cards on there. This is a chrome card. It does have a little bit of stuff on the top here, but these are actually in my store to be sold cards. I don't actually keep any really in my collection. And the last one was kind of a interesting one. It's got 2 parts to it. It says, in case of fire or emergency, turn this card over. Is what it says right there. Now, of course, everybody turns the card over, and it says, not now, stupid. It says, in case of a fire or emergency. So someone would get, you send that to someone, they actually turn it over. I did. And I'm not going to not turn it over. But that's what that is. So those are comic and humor cards. I see them all over the place. I see some ridiculous comical prices on them. But then some people, they just think they're funny and neat and they buy them. It's nice to have a variety. That's comic humor cards. Find them, keep them, sell them. So let me go ahead and finish up the what's sold on eBay, and then I'll get into the term publisher. And then we got viewer comments. I got 4 of those at the end. The next card that's sold on eBay is a 1911 Lloydser. It's a car. On one of the buys, I got maybe 50 of these types of cards. I didn't know if they would sell or not since they're printed ones and earlier. And this was published by Long Island Auto Museum. Now right down here is, you see the publisher right there. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but that's what they mean by publisher. But that's a car, $4 to $5. Now this next one, these always make me stop and read stuff, but there wasn't anything on the back except a flea market thing, and I don't take those off, I leave them on there. But I would have liked to see more information about this. It says, part of entrenchments, Crater Battlefield, Petersburg, Virginia. So it's a card, and it's a linen card, but it talks about entrenchments during the war. And this is one card I'd like to see some more information on it. But you can tell by the green and the blue. It's a linen, and I can feel it. Not a bad card, $4 to $5. Next one is a train. Remember I said trains do good. This is the Frisco Silver Dollar Line, Marble Cave Park in the Ozarks, Missouri. So there's the train coming around. It's like some park. Unposted chrome card. $4 to $5. Monticello. A lot of people don't post these Williamsburg or Monticello, Virginia, because they say they're all touristy. Monticello always does well for me, no matter what it is. This is the interior of Monticello. And Honeymoon Lodge. Interior of Honeymoon Lodge. Right there. Chrome card. $4 to $5. Now airboats are like Zeppelins. Blimps. Anything with an airboat pretty well sells. Not for top dollar, but if you put it out there, that's an Everglades airboat tour. Nice yellow airboat. That means it doesn't have a motor in the water. It has a big fan on the back and it goes through it. Unposted chrome card. $4 to $5. Florida Everglades airboat tours. Now I'll do this last section here and we'll get into the definition of the term publisher. This is one boat. This is the USS Pablo AGER-2. It was a cargo ship, and this is from that naval ship hull. This is on a lighter cardstock, but that's a black and white photo of the USS Pueblo right there, and that come out of the Navy thing, so $4 to $5. The next gentleman bought 3 cards. Now this gentleman asked a question. Now I offer my cards at a certain price with free shipping, and if you buy more than one, you get a volume discount. Now since it's free shipping, it's my choice how I ship them, and it's all baked into the price. He said that he couldn't check out all at once and ask for an invoice on the shipping. Well, there is no invoice I'd give him on shipping because it's all included in one price. Plus, I get the volume discount. So if you bought 10 cards and I ship them first class, it's going to cost me, $3 or $4 to ship those. So there's really nothing left over. eBay will not allow you to refund less than $1. So if the guy wanted a refund on 3 cards of $1, that's not going to happen. It's all in the volume. That's why I put the volume discount, is to keep those conversations out there. So even if he asked for an invoice, I probably would just send him an invoice for the same amount, because it's free shipping. Now, if I was charging shipping, say $3 on each one, that's $9. Then definitely, if I put them all in one package for $3, there could possibly be a refund back to him if he requested it. But with free shipping, I don't do that. So I just replied to him, hey, with the buying discount, there's savings for you, and they'll all go together. And we'll see where the conversation goes. I think he was just confused about not being able to do certain things on eBay. I don't have any control over that. So if there's a sale, an offer on a card, sometimes they can't request an invoice. That's what I've found so far on eBay side. So there's really not much we can do during the payment process of that. But volume discounts I give them 10 and 15% off at certain levels. So it helps with them, gives them a little bit of savings. I'm saving money. So it works. But this guy bought 3. Now remember, with these naval ships, I found a whole bunch of Navy jet fighters postcards in one of those boxes. They've been doing really good. So this is an F-14B Tomcat taken off. These cards are just so neat. That's a chrome card, $4 to $5. The next one is the VF-11 Red Ripers, some kind of group. Oldest continuous active fighter squadron. Flies through the Norwegian fjords. So this is flying through the fjords, and they're just neat cards. I enjoyed listing these. And that's a chrome card, $4 to $5. Now this one he purchased. This is bigger than a Continental. It's a little bit smaller than a 5x7, but bigger than 6x4. So that's going to 5x7 sleeve, but it will fit into those envelopes. This is the world famous Putin dogs, and they're flying F-14Bs. And they're flying over the George Washington aircraft carrier. So that's a nice chrome card on a good solid card stock, $4 to $5. Let me finish up all the eBay ones here. Got about 3 left. This is from the Naval Ship Hall. This is the submarine control room on the USS Ling submarine. So that's the control room. Just look how tight it was in there. I mean, you turn around, you're going to walk into someone. Those guys, my brother-in-law was on a submarine for 20 years. And different atmosphere, but he's used to it. $4 to $5. Next one is the famous Caleron of 66 Bells War Memorial, Richmond, Virginia. Linen card. This way. Portrait. Vertical card. There it is right there with a reflecting pool on there. It's got flea market or antique booth stamp. I don't take those off. Just a linen card. God, I gotta get this right. On there, $4 to $5. And the last of the eBay ones, I still got a couple Etsy ones. This is the view of Onset Harbor showing Wicked Island, Cape Cod, Massachusetts. So look at those older cars in there. And this was postmarked 1970. So that's from the 1970s. There's Wicked Island, and there's the cars and people. Just a chrome card. It's posted. Doesn't have a stamp on it, so it must have fell off. $4 to $5. So all these cards right here, this was 19 cards on eBay, and that's the only amount of space it took up. And these will all get packed up and go out tomorrow morning. Definition terms, I've said it before, there's so many terms out there that are crossovers. People say different things about postcards, the front, the back, different things. Just keep them talking, and you'll understand what they say, but at least you're understanding what they say. And I try to put a term on every video just to reinforce it to myself what it is, and some of them I never heard of before. But today I thought I would talk about publisher. And what does it mean by a publisher? You've heard about publisher, then there's artist, but let me talk a little bit about the publisher, and I'll show you an example. I'll put it right down here, you can read along with me. So publisher, any person or company. So it's a person or company, because people do publish postcards also. I was on doing a talk to a New York Postcard Club, and one of the people on there, Mike Lingelstein, he creates postcards. So he's a publisher and an artist. So he makes the postcards. And they were pretty neat ones, like the Statue of Liberty on its side and different things. So any person or company can be listed as the publisher, and many local drugstores and book and news stores are listed as such. Usually the person or company who ordered the cards is considered the publisher. That's a little gray area there. Usually the person or company who ordered the cards is considered the publisher. Some companies were also the printer and publisher. Okay, so you got printer, the ones that make the cards, and then you got the publisher. I can't get my head wrapped around that. To me, the publisher, right here, if you look at that right there, it says publisher, PV. And that's published by Richmond News Company is what it says. Published by Richmond News Company. And then on the middle it says something about Cambridge and stuff, but it says published by News Company. So this printer was the publisher, and that's what I'm used to. The special artists and stuff like that, you know, if a drugstore would order the cards and they sell them on the rack, are they now the publisher? I still think it's the printer. So the printer publisher, to me, it's what's on the back of the cards is the publisher, and right there, Richmond News, to me, is the publisher. So if you got any questions about that or comments for me on that and want to clear this gray fog I got about printer and publisher, leave it in the comments so I learn a little bit about that. But that kind of blew my mind when it said some companies were also the printer and publisher, but in the beginning, usually the person or company who ordered the cards is considered the publisher. That's what I mean about crossover. So if someone wants to help clear that up for me, or try to give me an or try to clear it up for me, let me know. But that's why I brought this term up, because there was some confusing things in this definition. So let's go over that just one more time to make sure I got this. Publisher, any person or company can be listed as a publisher, and many local drugstores and news stores are listed as such. Usually the person or company who ordered the cards is considered the publisher. Some companies were also the printer and publisher. It just doesn't read clear to me, that definition, but I couldn't really find a better one. But help me with that if you can. Let me go through the 2 cards that I sold on Etsy. And remember, Etsy and HIP are slower than eBay. eBay is where you want to put your postcard. If you're starting postcards, just do eBay. HIP is a different animal. Later on, you got to get the cards up on eBay so you can get them over to HIP, but I wouldn't do that right away either, because the market is just not there on HIP. I know a few people have stopped HIP because what they pay a month and what they have, there's just no volume there for them. And Etsy's a different animal with the fees and stuff. You get 20 cents for every 4 months. So if you put 100 cards up, you know, you're going to have a $20 bill every 4 months. And if you're not selling cards, so mine pays for itself. It's starting to build, but it has taken so long on Etsy because it's a craft-oriented type thing. It is a good place, but eBay is where you make your money and you get move your stock. So you want to get on there. There's another one, Del Camp or something like that. I just picked eBay, Etsy, and HIP. That's all I got in my mind that I want to look at. So the first one that I knew this card was going to sell, I listed this about 3 or 4 days ago. It's the Thunder Hole. I can blow a hole on Mount Desert Island near Bar Harbor, Maine. So the Thunder Hole is probably a wave or a blowhole. But I have a feeling that this thing was going to sell, and it sold $4 to $5 on Etsy. Now Etsy, with the fees, you do make a little bit, sometimes more than you do on eBay. HIP especially you make, because they just have PayPal, and the fees are not that, the final value fees are not as high as on there, but the volume's not there. The next one on Etsy was the 21-inch Shepherd doll. Just some dolls in a basket. on Etsy. So a lot of cards on Etsy will be used for crafts. They'll put them in flowers, or they'll put them in a book or something like that as well. I'm going to be doing a video in the future about all the different ways people have sent me pictures, or I've found that they use postcards in the crafting. Now, some of the lot of postcards I sell at the flea market, you know, some are damaged and stuff like that. They'll take and use them in scrapbooking, collages, and different things like that. So that'll be an interesting video when I do that one. I'm looking forward to it. So now let me get into the viewer comments. Now remember, I get these comments from the videos, emails, Facebook once in a while, Instagram. I don't look at Facebook and Instagram too often, so if you send me something there, I apologize I didn't get there. Those things drive me crazy. But the first question I got, and it's more of a compliment, telling about the video, so I appreciate the comments, but she wrote, "Thanks for making videos with realistic information. When I started selling several years ago, my expectations were way too high. It's refreshing to hear a seller admit they might have a bad buy. I certainly had some, but I also had buys that turned out better than expected." And what she's talking about, the bad buy, was my George Washington from my patriotic postcard video I put out a couple of weeks ago. I told you I, bit the farm on those, but I'm as transparent as possible. If someone asks me a question how I do something, I'll definitely tell them. If they ask me too much detail, there's some things I can't and just will not give out. And I'm not worried about competition. I'm a small fish in a big pond. There's not over 9 million postcards on eBay. There's thousands of sellers all over the place. I'm not putting a dent in anybody's business. I'm probably helping them. But yeah, so if there's anything, everything's transparent. This is really what's happened. These cards sold. You can go in my store and they're sold. But I appreciate the comments, and I'm glad she liked seeing that. Next viewer comment is, "What size labels do you use for your inventory numbers?" I'm really glad when people ask these types of questions, because they're probably new to postcards, or they're trying to set something up, and when I did it, there just wasn't a lot of information on that, and that's why I wanted to pay it forward with these videos, is to help people get through these little things. So to answer that question, I used to use these bigger labels, and these are what I use now. They're half the size. These are about 2.5 inches and removable, because I had a lot of toys and stuff like that, but I downsized my toy store, so I don't use them that often. So I said, you know what, why don't I just get 1 inch by 1 inch labels? And that's what these are. So now I can buy twice as many labels for the same amount of money, and I put my SKU number, my inventory number, right on here, and these are not removable. These were removable because I put them on the toy packages. These are not removable because I don't need to. They'll just go on a sleeve. Like that one is the bigger one that I did before. And then this is the smaller one. So if you look at the two, if I put it behind each other, you can see the difference. So I'm getting 2 labels now for the same price. This is what I used before, and this is and that's 1 inch by 1 inch. And it'll hold the numbers. If the numbers get too big, I'll just reduce the font of the number. But that's what I use for labels. And I use a Dymo, let me see, 450 Turbo. And in the label, when you edit your label, you can put a counter in there. So if I'm going to do, say, list 100 postcards, and it starts at 100, I can start that in my counter in there and put 100 and tell it to print 100 labels. And it'll print all 100 out, so there's no chance of an error because the computer's doing it. And it'll give me 100 labels, and as I list them, I'll go through and put them on here, and I'll put that number in my inventory sheet and put it into eBay or Etsy as the SKU number or custom label. So that it worked out fine. And those 450 turbos, $80, $60, I forgot what they were. I bought them a long time ago. Thanks for that comment. The next one is from Kelly. Kelly's a great resource. If anybody's got any questions, make sure you put them in the comments. But Kelly's been selling postcards for a while too, and sells a lot of them, probably longer than I have. But one of her comments was, great video on your point. It is good to keep a little money aside if you can. I often stumble across those just gotta have deals when you least expect it. So what she's talking about is when I comment about having a little emergency fund or a deal fund. So over time you want to put some money away, so when that deal of a lifetime walks in, say for $1,000 you're going to get 100,000 postcards, or for $300 you're going to get 10,000 postcards or more. You want to have that money that you can use that for, and it takes time to build that fund as you're building your business. But if you're already established, you probably have one of those funds, or use your personal money, just pay yourself back. But I try to never pass up a good deal without money and whatever. When I first started, I used a lot of my personal money to buy inventory, and then I would repay myself every month until I got my return on it. It's just like those Navy cards. I used my inventory money from my business to buy those, and I still haven't recovered my investment on them yet, because I had to build shelves and buy boxes and buy labels and buy stock and supplies. So all that's baked into that whole haul, and it's going to be a little while for me to start getting a full return. Am I making money on them? Sure, but I haven't recouped my capital investment into that. So say you buy a big haul for $1,000. There's time to get them up there, sorting, you got to get supplies, you got to get boxes, or how you're going to do things. It takes you away from your other things. So some things are quick flips, but the boats are going to be a long flip. They're going to be here for a long time. It's a lot of cards, and I'm just about through the chrome boat cards. I should be doing those this week, and then I start on the covers, the prints, and I got some of those real photo postcards. Those are going to take longer. I'm waiting for the end. Good winter work to go through. So, but Kelly, thank you for the comment, and just reinforcing, always have a little slush fund so you can get the good deals. And the last viewer comment I got, someone asked me, will you ever do live streams where we can ask questions in real time? I'm not going to say no. It is something I have on my mind, but probably not this year. If I do, you'll see it scheduled out, or I'll just go live, surprise live, maybe a question and answer, like a rapid fire thing, someone just there. I don't know if I got the subscribers or the people that would come in right away, but you never know. I'm all set up for it. I have the setup, and I've been on other shows like Pittsburgh Picker and some of these other ones. I do jump on and people do ask questions. So it's in the back of my mind. I'm not going to say no. I would probably say probably. And it'd be a good time for people to ask questions, and I can ask questions and say, hey, what do you think of this? What is this? I mean, the postcards are just so many opportunities to ask questions of people. I don't know everything. Like I said, I'm a little fish in a big pond. And even though I got a lot of listing, a lot of cards, I'm still just a little speck out in a little goldfish in a tank of thousands. And do I compare myself to others? No. I do what I do. I did my research. This is where I need to be. This is how I want to do it. And that's it. So never compare yourself to others, because you never know what's going on. You can compare styles, and if someone's selling 20 cards and you're not selling any, go look at their prices and stuff like that. But your competitors, what they're doing and stuff like that. But I try not to compare myself to, because those guys have been doing it for years. They're established. They got trust, and it's just what it is. But going live, maybe we'll give it a shot. But if you want to know about the best envelope, since we're talking about envelopes here, check this video out. I did a review of the envelope and how they grade them, and also I'll show you some of the worst envelopes that I got in the mail in that video, along with what sold and stuff like that. But remember, you can always jump around the video with those chapters at the bottom there. But check that video out, and that's all I got for today. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.